All right, so this weekend, obviously, there's lots of racing happening in Europe. And also last night, there were the two Group 1s in France. But this weekend, we've got the Irish 1,000 and 2,000 guineas to look forward to, as well as the Tattersalls Gold Cup, Group 1, 2,000 metres. See some of those good horses. And there's plenty of other interesting races, including the Greenlands Stakes at the Curragh, and some racing in Haydock too. So I just thought I'd come on today and discuss some of these races and talk about some of these interesting horses that are running. But I'll just start off talking about last night at Longchamp. We saw obviously the two Group 1s. I'm not going to bother pronouncing the staying one, but we had the Prix Khan as well, won by Darius, who won very convincingly, and he's now on track for the Prince of Wales. I'd say he'll be favourite, although the horses he runs against in the Prince of Wales are going to be much harder. It's going to be more competitive. Although he hasn't really done much wrong for a long time now, Darius. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes, especially if it's a good track at Ascot. And then obviously Lazat won as well. Won how he should have. He's one of the best sprinters in the world on his day. And this was a very easy race for him. So good to see him win again. He was badly overdue for a win. And then obviously the Vicomtesse Viguier. It's a new Group 1. And it really shows us that it was deservedly a Group 1 now, I think. It was a really competitive, good race. Obviously won by Caballo de Mar. I was on Caballo de Mar and Asmarani as well. I could not understand Caballo de Mar's price in that race. He was last seen running, just beat by Sweet William in the Cigarro Stakes. And then he was 7 lengths back to the rest of the field. How is that horse not... It wasn't even top 3 in the market or top 4. And you can see it went off at 18-1 according to the Racing Post. So that was just such madness to me, that price. I thought, how Santorini Star, she's very good and she's very consistent. But, Caballo de Mar's a Group 1 winner. And, he goes to show, it just showed today, he's one of the best at that level. So that was a really good race. Al Riffer probably should have won, but yeah, he just got going a little bit too late, I thought. But we'll talk about the racing this weekend. Obviously, tonight, which will be during the day on Friday in the UK, just one race at Haydock, the listed Cecil Frail Stakes over 6 furlongs. Interesting race, obviously half sovereign. They tried to go the French Guineas route with her. Now she's back to 6 furlongs. And then Sky Majesty as well. They really put her to the task last season. Running in those Group 1s where she didn't really fire, but she was she was a 3-year-old filly. It's it's a massive ask for a horse like that in those sorts of races. But she could improve. But I think Rosy Affair is just going to win this. To be honest, it just ticks every box. Has George Bowie and Billy Lognan. They're very in form at the moment. And she's just that progressive sort of type. I think she won a Group 3 at the end of last prep in France, I think. And, she comes back here, ran second to Flora of Bermuda last start. And, she's pretty good, I think she'll just win here. And also, just as a side note, what the fuck is this new Racing Post website? Oh my God, it's actually so shit. There's been so many times where I'll show you an example. I've opened up this, and then I accidentally closed, the entire fucking browser. So, yeah, Racing Post, really, what the fuck are you doing? That's... Besides the point, but we'll continue to Saturday. We'll start off with the Curragh. Obviously, it's 2,000 guineas day. But we'll start in the Greenlands Stakes. 6 furlongs, Group 2. These are the horses that'll go for the Diamond Jubilee at Ascot. This is a really fascinating race. So obviously the favourite's Powerful Glory. He was last seen winning the British Champions Sprint at 100-1 with Jamie Spencer, who reunites with him here again. I mean, he could win, but he's, carrying all that weight. And, when he did win last time, it was, a bit of a fluke. So, no, to be fair, he won fair and square. But, I don't know. It's just not really the sort of horse I'd back, upon his seasonal reappearance. You got Buccaneer Fuerte, who's, he's all right, I guess, but he's not going very well. Monteciv's pretty good. He's a Group 1 winner. He won the Haydock Sprint Cup, I think, 2 years ago. So he's pretty good, but he's 8 years old. He might be getting past it. Now, this is the horse that I think is very interesting and could win this. Commanche Brave. Now, I think he was favourite for a Jersey Stakes at Ascot last year, and then he's kind of gone a bit sideways, and then they ran him So what has he done this year? He ran in the 13:51 turf sprint in Riyadh on Saudi Cup night, and he ran third there. He ran very well behind Lazat and Reef Runner. And then before that, he ran in the Abu Dhabi Gold Cup, which is over a mile. And then they went to Hong Kong with him to run against Curragh Rising. And I literally thought he'd run last. Like, I thought that was just a really dumb move, but he ran okay, to be fair. He was only beat 6 lengths by arguably the best sprinter of this generation. Well, he's the best sprinter of this generation, but one of the best of all time. I thought he did okay, to be honest. He was thereabouts with Satono Reeve and the place getters. I thought it was a pretty commendable run, to be honest. And now he comes here. I'm on him at $8.50, which I think is just an excellent price for a horse like him. Curragh Rising form in a Group 2 at the Curragh. Like, when are you ever seeing that? So, I think he's a very interesting horse running here. And, they've always said that he's more of they're going to try and make him a sprinter. Like, I feel like this is going to be the make or break of him. He has to win this race if they're going to go down the, Jubilee path, July Cup, those sorts of races. So, I think Commanche Brave is very interesting for this race. Then you got the likes of Marvel Man, who more of a 7 furlong horse, I believe. Just some other sort of horse. I think Chicago Critic was in Dubai during the winter, so he comes back here. He might have had a run in between, but I'm not too sure. But I think Commanche Brave will win the Greenlands Stakes, just based on that Curragh Rising form, how he didn't completely disgrace himself in that race at Sha Tin, I thought. So, sorry, I just had to cut the video. The dog was being annoying, so I had to put him outside. I'm at home away from my usual recording location, so bit of a different setup, but we'll continue to I think it's the 2,000 Guineas. Yep, so Group 1, over a mile. It's a race that I want to spend time on, but it's pretty clear cut what's going to happen. Gstaad's just going to win. Like, let's be real. That run behind Boeko was just awesome, wasn't it? He ran so well. And I think he's just miles better than all these. You got, Al Parsland, who won I think it was like the Greenham or something. It was one of those races. I think it was the Greenham. And so he comes here. Probably not good enough. The Secret Adversary, that's, 5th in the 2,000 Guineas is pretty solid form, but he's still got a lot to find on Gstaad, who I think is just going to win here. Same with Power Blue as well. Like, he ran pretty average in the Guineas, but blown out to 50-1 for a Group 1 winner as a 2-year-old. I think that's a good price, but as I said, none of these are going to beat Gstaad, I don't think. I think it's pretty clear cut. But yeah, we'll move on to the Gallinule Stakes. 2,000 metres. These are sort of Irish Derby type horses, I think. It's getting a bit too close to Epsom to go there. So I'd say these horses will target, Irish classics, I'd imagine. But yeah, I think Causeway, I've had a look at some of these. I haven't looked at it too closely, but I think Causeway hasn't really done much wrong. And, he's by Wootton Bassett, but he's also out of a Galileo mare. So I think the step up from a mile to a mile and a quarter is going to be fine for him. And obviously Ryan Moore, picked him to ride. Drop Dead Gorgeous has a bit of that, she might be pretty good eventually, but I think for now Causeway's going to win here. They're literally all trained by O'Brien's, far out. Or most of them are. I think there was a race a few weeks back where they all were. But yeah, I think Causeway will win here and then, work towards an Irish Derby, although he mightn't be good enough for those sorts of races. He might get relegated to pacemaker or something. So, alright, so I've actually already recorded this video, but I've just realised that I've completely missed Haydock on Saturday. So I'm just going to quickly go back and have a look at whatever I was meant to talk about. So the first race, which is a 2,000 metre race, listed for I think it's for the fillies and mares. Friendly Soul is back. She was last seen winning in the opera on Longchamp on Arc Day 2 years ago. So, she's a really elite horse. She's obviously had problems because we didn't see her as a 4-year-old. But now she's back. Really interested to see how she goes. We might take the Long Way as favourite, which is pretty interesting. She's ran in a lot of hard races. But yeah, this is a no bet race for me. It's just I just wanted to point out that Friendly Soul's back. When she won that race at Longchamp, that was a ridiculous win, I thought. Looked so good that day. But yeah, we'll go to the next race I wanted to talk about. I believe it was the sprint. Yeah, the Sandy Lane Stakes. Venetian Sun is the favourite. Very elite 2-year-old, but she kind of... Well, we suspected she wouldn't get a mile, and she didn't in the 1,000 Guineas. Now they've dropped her back to 6 furlongs. she's the rightful favourite. But the horse I like is Division. Now, if you go back to the Commonwealth Cup trial at Ascot a few weeks ago, Copper won the race, and it was a really, strong ride by Ross Ryan. But Division literally fucking, missed the start by miles, or it was just messing around. He might have reared or something, but he came flying home at the end. If he had a better start, he would have won, easily. So I think Division is the one to be on here. I think he's really talented, and the fact that he made up so much ground last start is, a real testament to his ability. So I think Division's a really good bet here. Copple's a nice horse, but I think, as I said, Ross Ryan really got him home last start, and I think, this is, tougher again with the likes of Venetian Sun. So, I think Division's a really nice horse going forward. Then the other race was, I think it was the 5 furlong race. The Temple Stakes. Us4 was the favourite here. But wow, 6-1 the field, which is pretty mad to be fair. But we'll talk about some of these. I was going to complain about American Fair, because they ran him over the 6 furlong race last start, and then they go back to 5 here. I think it was mainly to get the cobwebs out, because we haven't seen him since his Royal Ascot win last year. So I kind of get it, giving him a few sort of runs around the track. But yeah, it baffled me a little bit that they went from the 6 furlong race back to the 5 furlongs. A little bit weird, to be fair. But yeah, Beautiful Diamond as well. I backed her in France last start, but she missed the start, and they went really hard as well, so she never really had a chance, although she might improve here again. But yeah, the horse I like in this race is Shagraan. He kind of just ticks all the boxes. Ross Ryan gets the ride. He's very good, very trustworthy, and I think he's a real improving horse. From memory, he was a handicap horse with Michael Appleby, and now he's with Clive Cox. Runs third in that race last start. And then Night Raider, he did win that Group 3 last start, although I don't know. I think James Doyle really gets the best out of him, and now Clifford Lee's on board, so not too sure about that. But yeah, I think in the Temple Stakes I like Shagraan. I mean, Us4 is really the classiest horse in the field. She was one of the best sprinters in Europe last season. But I think Shagraan is the one to be on here. I think he's pretty good, up and coming horse. Well, it's not really up and coming. He's been around the block, but at this level, he's improving all the time. So, I think Shagraan's the one there. We'll move on to Sunday now. There's not too much to talk about because obviously, the jockeys haven't been the full fields aren't out. But I'll just talk about the main races. So the Tattersalls Gold Cup, a mile and 2,100 meters. Minnie Hauk's the favourite here, and rightfully so. She got gunned down just by the tiniest of margins by Darries at the Arc last year. And then they went to the Breeders' Cup turf with her, which in hindsight might have been a bridge too far. But when they're going as well as she was, you got to challenge the world, when they're going that well. So I've got it. I mean, in hindsight, it might have been too much, but it seemed like a good idea at the time. But yeah, she should win here. She's one of the best horses in the world. I was racking my brain thinking, could a horse like Bay City Roller, who I think is a really nice horse, won that German Group 1 last prep. George Scott, he won a Group 1 last night with Cabello de Mar. He's going pretty well as a young Newmarket trainer. But is Bay City Roller beating Minnie Hauk? See, he just isn't. So if I had any sort of reservations or issues with Minnie Hauk, I'd have something on Bay City Roller, but I don't. Minnie Hauk is just flying at the moment. And, some of these mares, they just absolutely level up when they, go from a 3-year-old to a 4-year-old. So I think Minnie Hauk will probably just win. But yeah, as I said, I like Bay City Roller. I think he's got a good attitude. He's, a bit of he's a nice horse. So hope he runs well. And then we'll just quickly touch on the 1,000 Guineas. It's to be fair, the race has fallen away a little bit, I think. Obviously, you got Precise and True Love at the top of the market. I don't know which one Ryan's going to ride. I swear Precise was going to be the number 1 seed, but now True Love's, won the 1,000 Guineas. But yeah, I think True Love will probably just win again, to be fair. I've looked at it a little bit, but I just feel like the race has fallen away a little bit. There's not that many really good horses. Green Sense is kind of interesting. I don't know if she'll run though. I know Black Caviar Gold is. I think America Queen, if she goes, she's a pretty good chance. I think she ran second in I think it was the Fred Darling or something last start. So, she's pretty good. Although I haven't really gone into this race that much. But yeah, it does look like, I feel like this weekend it's just going to be like Gstaad, Minnie Hauk, True Love probably. But yeah, no, it's a good weekend of racing. And also in Asia on Sunday afternoon, you've got the Japanese Oaks as well. I think the horse that I like in that race is Laughter Lines, who will be ridden by Damien Lane. And then also in Sha Tin, we've got the Champions and Trader Cup with Romantic Warrior, trying to win like the Hong Kong Triple Crown or whatever it's called. But it won't be like, it's not a tap-in, it's not a penalty shootout because, you've got Raojan Park and then some other Japanese horses in there. So, it might be a little bit tricky for him. But plenty of good racing around the world this weekend. If you like this sort of content, just like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you later.